Hello YouTube, Facebook Live, and Twitch. Welcome to the Extreme World Racing League Formula 1 Season 4 Spanish Grand Prix. We're here at Circuit de Barcelona, Catalunya here. We have an 18 driver grid here for the 18 minutes of qualifying. And it is the crawl out of pit lane. Alright, just kind of letting others by. It looks like Brian is the leader of the drivers coming off the pit lane. Joined here. Round 15 of the 21 race championship. As this McLaren, provided there's no mistakes, will be the first driver to set a lap time. Here goes through the final chicane and onto the right-hander that leads onto the front straightaway here, the long straightaway. DRS wide open. Up the gears we go, full song down the front straightaway. We'll ride on board and see what kind of a lap time Brian will set. Purple sector 1, but he's just the first driver to set a lap time there. The 16-turn road course. Here, turn 9. This is going to be a trouble spot. It's an auto spin curb, uphill, high speed, right-hander. Brian gets through it very nicely.
God.
To do 14 and 15, and now a short shoot to turn 16 and onto the start-finish line straight. Back wing is open once again. Brian, the first time on the board, will go a 121.622. Be followed by a Red Bull. Oh, there's a Red Bull off as Marco goes top of the chart at 119.126. Foursquare on his time lap had a mistake there in turn 11. TK goes second quickest, Malenko third quickest. So one Red Bull goes top of the chart, one Red Bull stays at the bottom.
Oh yeah, eat your avocado.
How about Papu, a blazing 134.3. I must have made a mistake on his lap as well as Foursquare.
I did.
Yeah. There's a Ferrari around. That's Dan, I think. That was Dan. Yeah, and around goes Dan. I think he was on his timed lap. And into the pit lane goes Dan. Let's see if we can catch up now. Pillars starts his timed lap. Right now, second in the championship. Right now, there's only 3 drivers mathematically eligible for title contention. That is obviously our point leader, Hector. Second place in points here, Pillars. Third place in points, Ben. Technically, fourth place in points is Troy. He was 3 points above the cut for mathematical eligibility heading into tonight's Grand Prix, but him not starting tonight's Grand Prix will have him, fall out being eligible. So the scenario for Pillars to win the title, not as far-fetched as it seems. The hardest part is having to win out. The second part of that is having his his competition for the title, Hector, finish at least at the highest third in any of the races remaining, as Jonathan goes a 118.642. Obviously that changes, say, like Hector goes second in one race, but you know goes like 8th in another, well, that's a different thing. You know, if the average finish for Hector for the rest of the season has to be lower than 3rd. So Jonathan top of the chart, Markle 2nd, TK 3rd, Malika 4th, Steven in his return. 4 races out for Steven, he goes 5th. Forgot to mention, it's been 12 weeks since Marco's last been in the EWRL Formula 1 series, and he's not lost a step. 2nd on the speed chart for now. Steven 5th, Pillars 6th, Ben sat 7th, Brian 8th, Robert 9th, Pappy improved to a 1:27.7, not fast enough.
Backed out again.
Got driven into the back of.
No, I backed out.
But
yeah, so
Colton,
it was on my race team online, so.
Colton goes a 1:23.1. Improves big time from the 1:45, I believe he had. And it'll be, you know, he'll have another go at it later in this qualifying session. How about Aiden in the Renault? Through turn 9, keeps it nice and tidy. Little late to the DRS. Down the short chute and into the chicane. That's not really a chicane, that's turn 10. Here's a little chicane, 11 and 12. Oh, and off in the final corner, gravel. This is not a good lap for the Renault. Definitely have another go at the 1:33.7. And Foursquare is at it again. Let's ride on board with Red Bull driver 1. Markle, you see, is in the Red Bull and not many things. Well, many things with his little run-in with the Renault of TK last week cost him a race. He's been warned throughout the season, has been very close in several incidents, but last week there wasn't really anything helping his case there. It was very, very tough to disprove he was at fault. So serving a 1-race suspension, Markle into car, set 2nd. Markle is running for his own points as Foursquare goes 7th of 14. How about we ride on board with Malenko through turn 3. Malenko into Williams. Outdoing his teammate right now, but his teammate, ooh, I hate to say, set a lap time that puts him 5th quickest. He set that on the hards. Steven set his lap time on the mediums. Pillars on the hards. Dan up to 9th quickest on the mediums. Ben on the hards. Brian on the mediums. And Hector setting a time lap right now on the hards. Malenko right now had a purple sector 2. Let's see what this puts him into the final chicane. That's 14 and 15. On the way to 16. Around goes Malenko. That one hurts. He had a purple sector 2. Right on board for our point leader here into the right-hander, turn number 9. Oh, a little slow there in the center. Turn 10. Let's see if he keeps the lap going. Hector through turn 16 and 2 to start-finish line. 5th quickest on the hards. My goodness. How about Steven on the softs? Trying to prove.
Fucking hate this track.
Pillars is now out there on the mediums to improve from 9th. Ben's out there on the mediums. How about Brian? 10th quickest on the softs.
Oh, I lost it, son of a bitch.
Pappy is eating some gravel.
Let me go by. Keep fucking up on my display.
TK is eating some gravel.
Yeah. Tried to send it.
Yes, sir, full send. Hey, you ever do it in quality in the race, yeah? Steven, 3rd quickest on the softs.
I haven't wrecked much in races on my own, only like one.
So right now, Jonathan, top of the chart. Markle 2nd, Steven 3rd. Ben goes 4th quickest on the mediums, a 119.011. Pillar 6th quickest. Malco on an outlap once again, knowing how fast he was there. Trying to not do the same mistake he had. Hector into the pit lane. He'll probably fit a set of softs or something here to the end, or maybe mediums for strategy. Probably a mangle here. Jonathan improves on his lap time, a 118.313. Colton has invalidated his lap time. Pappy's on a go right now. And same with Aiden.
Oh my god, no.
Oh, TK has wrecked it out.
I hit the pit road wall. Fuck.
Oh, man.
Oh, fuck. That's a buzzkill.
Wow. Just said, he doesn't wreck himself out of races too much, but, qualifying looks to be a different case. Oof. Just trying to push to get into the pit lane, and I think Pillars took a little bit easier there on pit entry after hearing TK had an unfortunate run-in with the pit wall. How about Malenko?
Bro, I barely nicked the wall, too, like, barely.
Another purple Sector 2 for Malenko. He is flying through that big chungus. Hopefully Drop This doesn't bottle it. I did a few hours of practice with him earlier. A few hours, my goodness. There's a Renault up. Here comes Malenko trying to not do the same mistake here into turn 14. Or I'm sorry, that's 13. On the way to 14 and 15. To turn 16. Malenko 2 to start finish line. Purple Sector 2. Where's that going to put him? 5th quickest. My cousin is in 3rd. Steven's got this. Oh, okay, well, nice. Glad for you to hop in and check out the stream. We're seeing stuff 4 minutes in qualifying, and then we get on to the race. At least it was 7. It was at least 7. My dad is running away with this. Ah, okay.
Emerson picture, there you go.
Yep. That reminds me to do what I had to do. I said I would do it, and I hadn't done it, but now I would do it.
And the trash has been taken out.
God, what a buzzkill that is, eh?
Alright. Anyway, let's take a look
Still ran a much better lap.
Markle on a timed lap here. Can he gain 3/10 on Jonathan? Uh-oh, Pillars questioning Pappy.
Out of gas. Not like I'm cutting corners for lap time. Chill out.
Just passing the message along. Dan goes 10th quickest. Let's see what Markle is trending right on his previous lap. He's got to have a wicked Sector 3. And he goes wide there in 12. Can he keep it tight on the way to 13? It's not looking good. He might not be able to go on another run. He might have to pull these tires off or take a P2 here. We'll see what happens on the way through turn 16. What is it going to be? improves, but not good enough. How about Victor in the Mercedes? Droftus is Welsh, kind of vibey. Alright. Victor made one start. He was in subbing for one of the Alfa Romeos at Monza, finished third. So here he is, second start here in EWRL's Formula 1 series. Turn 12. I don't think this is a timed lap. Yeah, that was fun to watch. Let's see. And it looks like everybody near the top of the chart is in the pit lane. There's no moves. Victor's retired from the session. I'm sure he's done that for the menu. Yep. Everybody near the top is still in the pit lane, except for Hector, who's going on a time lap here.
On an outlet. So is Jonathan.
Yep. A lot of people in the pit lane here, though, with 1 minute. So a pretty clear track for all these guys we see near the front of the grid to go out there and set their laps. It's kind of just them against each other. Let's see what our point leader can do through turn 9. He is all over ERS. Look at him change the ERS as much as he shifts gears around this circuit.
I'm so glad that's not going to happen next.
What?
I'm so glad that won't be possible next.
Yeah, it's just, you know, like 3 little modes, right?
Yeah.
Something like that, yeah. To the start-finish line with the Alfa Romeo, second quickest for Hector on the mediums. Oh my goodness, let's see where Droftus ends up. On the mediums here, trending into green. And Jonathan is right behind him. Pillars is out there as well.
Droftus on medium. John is on soft.
John's trying to keep the pole. And drop this. Second quickest on the mediums. Jonathan improves to a 118.084. And now we check in with Pillars.
The green by a lot.
Yes, sir. Where does Pillars end up on the board?
This is his second lap on the medium. Yes.
Yeah. To the start finish line.
No, I mean.
Sixth quickest.
Pillars just ran at 18.9.
Yes.
Don't go in the pits. Oh my God. Retire, man. Just retire.
What are you talking about?
He's talking to Hector. Hector has a lot of us muted. Can you watch Steven for... I'm sorry. I watched Despicable Me before this for 4 hours. I'm sorry I didn't really give Steven the time there, but Steven was in the pit lane. I would have probably watched him if he was on the circuit. But anyway, Jonathan, top of the chart here, taking... I believe this is his first pole of the season. I don't believe he got pole last week. Dropped this at second. Hector third. Markle making his return 12 weeks since he's last ran an EWRL F1 race. He will start fourth. Steven, 4 weeks since he last ran an EWRL F1 race. He will start fifth. Pillar sixth. Ben seventh. Malenko eighth. TK ninth. Victor 10th. Dan 11, Foursquare 12th. Brian 13th. Pappy 14th. Colton 15th. Aiden 16th. Robert 17th. Pillars was watching his stepsister, hence he was so slow. Second had one. Okay, my bad then. Yep. My misinformation there. Jonathan did have the pole at Australia.
I think this is my best finishing race, or like qualifying. For
The starting position. That's what you meant.
Yeah, starting position.
Well, you know
That's
what?
what I meant. I couldn't get the words out there.
You still have a, what is this, 33 lap race?
Yeah. Let's see how
So,
this goes.
don't mess it up. The 34 laps. Might be. I'll find out in a hot
33.
sec. 33, alright. Anyway,
That would make sense.
so drivers get ready.
Absolutely what you should do.
Good luck, everybody.
BB did make it back in, but he did not set a qualifying time, I guess. Or where did he end up? Or I got maybe he didn't let him take control of his car again, but he should have been able to. But anyway, we have a 33 lapper on hand for today. Before we do our 33 lap event, we must go on the all important formation lap. Steven, you've been wished good luck. Droftus fan has just commented, I'm a big fan from Droftus. Alright, let's go through our starting lineup here for the EWRL F1 Season 4 Spanish Grand Prix, round 15 of the championship. Our pole sitter, Invereno, taking over his new full-time ride, Jonathan, and starting alongside of him, Inva Williams. I believe this could be his last Grand Prix he attends with us as he has to get back to work, but Droftus will start second. In row 2, our current points leader in the Alfa Romeo, Hector, and making his return 12 weeks out in the Red Bull, Markle. Row 3, Steven making his return 4 weeks out in the McLaren, in for Caden, running 5th. Starting alongside of him will be the Ferrari of Pillars. Row 4, we have our defending series champ of Ben starting 7th, and alongside of him, the Williams of Malico in 8th. Row 5, we'll have the Racing Point of TK starting 9th, and alongside of him, the Mercedes of Victor. Row 6, we'll have the Ferrari of Dan, who's in subbing for David, and alongside of him, the Red Bull of Foursquare. Row 7, we'll have the McLaren of Brian, and starting alongside of him, the Racing Point of Pappy. Row number 8, we'll have the Mercedes of Colton and the Renault of Aiden. Row number 9, we'll have a double Haas back row of Killing for Cash and BB.
Luck,
I guess
boys.
Braden. That's Justin Braden. Anyway, as the field regrids. Always love this time of night on a Sunday evening. It is time to bring the action as we await the lights. We've got 5 red lights, and it is lights out, and away we go. Jonathan off to a great start, but Droft is trying to beat him down to turn 3. How about Markle pulling up to the right side, up to second. Now clear to second. Can he have anything for Jonathan here? Out of turn 1, a little bit of contact to McLaren, sent up the inside. That's Steven trying to work his way up front. He falls back behind a Williams. And that's dropped this anyway to the right side, or the left side. That's Hector in the Alfa Romeo, a 5-second penalty for collision with Brian in the back of the grid. So Ferrari around that is Dan. Still double wide here. The Ferrari dives it up the inside. That's Pillars up into P5, working his way. How about Ben trying to cross it back over this? Somebody off into gravel. That I believe was TK. And McLaren is Steven trying to hang tough there in 7th. And around goes Ben.
Oh.
Almost collecting several of our cars, trying to get it spun back around here without getting himself
Oh
disqualified.
my god, why the fuck did you brake check there? What the fuck? Are you fucking kidding me?
The Racing Point of Pappy has gone off there in turn 9 on a 5-second penalty for a severe collision with Killing for Cash. Oh my goodness, it is a mess back here.
Fucking joke, man. Fucking does that in a high-speed fucking corner.
Back up front, Jonathan has a 1-second advantage over the Red Bull. Markle sets a 124.922 on the opening lap of the Grand Prix. Droftus sat 3rd, Hector 4th, Pillars 5th, Malico 6th, Steven 7th, TKA, Victor 9, Foursquare, rounding out the points. Let's see if Droftus has anything for Marco before DRS becomes a factor. It will become a factor at the end of this lap. Jonathan is just pulling away Pappy into the pit lane. Steven, your cousin says you've got this. Droftus has his fan saying grab that win. Right now, Droftus piling on the pressure on the Red Bull, trying to take second away from Markle. Markle was in a heavily contested title fight last season with our defending series champ Ben. And he's picking up right where he left off in second position. A part-time schedule. This is only Markle's third start of the season, I believe. Jonathan goes a 122.213. DRS is enabled. Jonathan now long gone of any threat from the Red Bull. If Markle can keep that Red Bull under control, though, he'll have an attack coming up the hill into turn 9 later in the lap. Steven trying to work over Malenko. Not going to be against the gap there. And back here, McLaren and a Haas are going at it outside of the points. Back up front, here we go, the battle for second. Droftus will have the DRS. Is the back wing open? How hard does Markle try to defend? Down the inside goes Droftus, then somebody goes around in the back! And as the racing point at TK, Droftus does go to second. And both racing points not having a good day in turn 9. No safety car yet, but a lot of spins, a lot of contact further back in the grid. 1.7 second advantage for Jonathan out ahead of Droftus. Markle right now trying to fend off Hector, but Hector up the inside with DRS. Should have that inside lane there in the 1, but Markle has the preferred line into 2 and holds off Hector for the time being through turn 3. I don't think Markle's really ran with Hector this season, so kind of uncharted territory for the both of them. And this is only Markle's third start of the season.
Oh, I can't believe I did that.
Markle's got the DRS though from Droftus, as I don't believe Hector opened up that back wing, unless that's just a visual glitch. He's left the session. Well, definitely opens the door up for Pillars to try to get a move on his AI. There's an 85% AI difficulty for when these drivers do go into AI. Hector will be trying his hardest to make it back in time. He does have a couple invites to the session, I'm pretty sure. Let's see how easy it is for Pillars. I'm sorry?
Somebody joined the session already.
Okay. Pillars finally having to go at the A. He cuts the corner a little bit, shoves
Are
out.
you fucking kidding me?
And why did Pappy's
pedals
retired?
disconnected. Oh my fucking god.
Oh.
And that's going to bring out the VSC. Racing Point, he's gone straight off in turn 7, I believe, or turn 8. That's turn 7. Oh my god, that was look at that. Look at where the car ended up. My goodness.
Yeah, my fucking pedals disconnected. I couldn't fucking brake.
Oof. The battle between the McLaren and the Haas was outside of the points. Now it is for P10. As I believe Ben is really dropping out of the points here. He's been back here, actually. He's trying to make his way back up. TK has fallen out of the points, which has led the battle between the McLaren and has to be. As Jonathan into the pit lane, is this? Oh, he did start on the soft, so he does have to go on an alternate strategy here. Is he gonna try to go into hards, or is it gonna be medium to the end? As Markle gets passed by Pillars, that was ending up for second. As Jonathan in the pit lane.
Many things when they pass you.
I'm sorry?
How people pass him and then he just hits them because he can't break. You let off before you. If he doesn't do at all.
And Hector, I believe, has regained control of that car now. And he'll have another go at the Red Bull. We'll see that the Ferrari he was just duking it out with is now 2 cars out of him. Hector's back on it. Malenko worked his way into the top 5 now. Steven about a second behind Malenko. Victor into the 7th position. Foursquare 8th. Jonathan's came out in the middle of the Haas and the McLaren battle. Actually, Braden has gotten over Brian there in P9 in the Haas. Jonathan in the Renault in 10th. Now, this is not what Jonathan wants. Hello, Troy. How you doing? You know, you just fell out of title contention today, mathematically. You were still in title contention this whole time. As Droftus goes with the fastest lap of 121.790. Also, David says, go Ferrari. As Malenko into the pit lane. I guess the drivers who started on soft says, here comes Hector on Markle. Now Markle back into the 4th position. Looks like he got a little tight with the slipstream, but Markle trying to see what he can, what kind of tow he can get from the Alfa Romeo, as I'm sure Hector will be long gone. So he normally is. There's a caution. Alpha turn number 2. But that's a Haas right here. That's Braden, who just got into the points. And he's lost the front wing. Well, part of it. That puts Ben back into the points. Brian back into the points. Droftus now has a 2.8 second advantage over the Ferrari of Pillars. You can see Markle and Steven. We should expect them in anytime soon. Here comes Markle. The softs. Not much more life on them. Steven will follow him in. Enough. Oh, no, 5-second speeding penalty for Markle into the pit.
Really?
He hasn't been. He hasn't been here for a few weeks, and the rule was changed where pit assist has been disabled. And
I had 50 on it. That's some ass. I looked at the stream too. Ass.
So now, can the mediums go to the end? I don't think they will. So I think it's going to be a soft, medium, soft, or a soft, medium, medium. If the mediums cannot make it to the end. So the drivers who started on mediums, they're probably going to go mediums to hards or mediums to softs. But this track isn't that abusive on tires, so I could see it actually just being a one-stop.
The strat is soft, medium, medium, or soft, medium, hard.
Soft, medium, hard. All right.
I was on medium hard before I sucked off on the wall.
I'm counting on the strat if you're on softs first.
So Steven right now outside of points from his pit stop. Up into the 13th position once again. The leading driver after pit stops is Jonathan. Of the drivers who pitted is Jonathan on that strategy. Sat in 6th. Foursquare trying to defend there in 5th. Jonathan will pick up the slipstream and make easy work of this Red Bull. Victor works his way into the 4th position. very quietly. Caution in sector 3, that's a racing point around.
I ate the gravel.
Oof.
Bad day for Racing Point.
Yeah. Both drivers coming off of points finishes last week at Australia. Not looking too hot this week in Barcelona.
This track sucks.
I don't know. I got brake checked on the last week corner by the so.
Now Hector on pillars here to battle for second, amping up as Malenko and Dan are going at it for 10th. Malenko into the points. Markle on Brian. So those are the fresh tires working their way on, and he never joined in to spectate, so I mean, I don't know. He just finally left the party. I guess his PlayStation just automatically shut off. As Jonathan, a 121.617 on mediums at our 4 laps old. Quickly closing the gap on Victor. Victor 13 seconds behind the battle for second. Well, if Shatford is your dad is leading. By 4.5 seconds over this tooth-and-nail battle for second. Pillars has pretty much had really a good handle on for now. They're both on 9-lap-old mediums as Jonathan works his way up to 4th on the Mercedes. Ben into 6th, Foursquare down to 7th. And Foursquare will be quickly caught by his teammate who's about 7 seconds back. Malenko and Brian duking it out, but eventually Brian will concede the position, tries to cross Malenko back over, but Malenko on 6-lap fresher mediums, and Hector into the pit lane. Is this mediums to hards? Yep, this is to hards. This is the one stop. They went about 10 laps. Take full advantage of the hards. Hector trying to merge out. Be racing Markle on pit. Not really. He'll have actually 5 seconds on Markle on pit exit. And he's left the session again. Not a good day. In that camp. So at least his invites. Oh, yeah! Stopped in the middle of the track. Oh, it's ghosted, but it's just stopped. Y'all can drive through it. But it's just...
Yeah.
Wow. That is, he's been disqualified from the session for parked in a dangerous location. But,
yeah, let's all say in unison, free position.
Wow.
Oh,
wow.
he's back too.
Hey, I didn't finish last.
Oof.
Oh wait, no, he's back up there. Ooh.
What?
I think he's back up there.
No, it shows
Oh
DNF.
no, that's Ben. Yeah, he doesn't exist anymore. Hector doesn't exist.
Very well. Victor into the pit lane. Ben goes to 4th. Yeah. Hector's car is driving around slowly. There's a racing point trying to work his way around Hector's. Hector's car just gonna...
I don't see him on... Yo, I don't see him on the map. He doesn't exist on the map.
Yeah, he's not on the map.
You said in the Facebook chat he needs an invite.
His car retired.
I don't think it matters. But well,
I mean,
is he in the party?
Yeah, he is, but he mutes everyone but Ben.
Yeah, I'll have the play together invite.
You know, if you would unmute people, it'd be fine.
Oh, there he is. His car's just driving around.
Is it?
And it's now
I can't
pulling
even- I can't
into the pit lane.
But clearly he can't drive it because he keeps leaving and rejoining.
It's Pillars into the pit lane.
So it really is free position. He wants
Well,
to see
that is
Yeah.
wicked because that is Hector's first DNF of the
it.
season.
It makes the title battle
It-
battle better, and we all get a position.
It literally does make the title battle very,
There's a
very
third.
Just think of
interesting.
a bigger win.
Pillars is grinning ear to ear under that helmet.
His car did though come off the pit road.
It came off a pit lane? Again?
Is Emerson talking?
Yeah, I was just asking. Oh, my mic was muted. I don't know when I muted my mic. Hello?
Yeah, you're good now.
Yo,
Alright. I don't know when that happened. How long have I been muted?
not too long.
Oh, okay.
Good little while.
Yeah.
Well, you think he's leaving and joining the party now?
Oh, he's back on the map. I
What?
think that's him.
Pillar or drop this
Like I
into
said,
the
his
pit.
car came off the pit road.
I'm beyond confused. Drop this is.
Oh no. I can't tell if that's a Ferrari between the McLarens or.
BB10 Pro is around.
That is a Ferrari.
Yeah, it's Dan. Dan's between.
Oh, BB10
So
Pro's
drop-
around again.
So Jonathan takes over the race lead once again. Very, very confusing situation for Hector. I don't know. There's a Haas that's stopped in the infield there on turn 3. He was letting the leader by.
Yeah, so I was just
Well-
doing my normal pit stop,
Yeah, I don't know.
and I
I mean,
disconnected as I left the pits.
right.
Yeah, just letting you know, Hector, your car doesn't exist anymore.
Yeah, I realized that.
Your disqualification
It's
won't
driving,
be
it's
against
driving
you,
around. It's driving around the track at like 50 miles an hour, but doesn't exist on the map.
Is it? Where is the car now? If
I don't know, I saw it.
I don't know where it
Off
is
the
now,
road.
but I passed it on the straightaway at some point.
what in the world? I don't know. This is
It's driving around really slow.
I've never seen this
But it's
on an F1
here.
game before.
When I'm spectating you guys, he never shows up once on my screen.
I haven't seen it this whole lap though.
I'll focus with Jonathan here, who's a race leader. Four seconds out in front of Droftus. Droftus on the hards, trying to put the winning strategy together here. Jonathan, his goal now is to open up the biggest gap he can, try to pit at the most opportune time where he would have fresh or clean air to run some hot laps to try to make his way through the grid. Into the pit lane goes Foursquare and Dan and Brian and Aiden and Colton. The busy pit lane. 5 teams doing service right now in the pits.
I had a 5-second penalty. I had to hold in the pit lane.
Marco does as well. He will be serving that, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, mine was on the turn 1 when I got loose, and then everybody just pile drove into
Yeah,
it.
but I sped.
Sector 3 yellow. There's a Haas around. I believe. I'm beyond confused. Just Hector's incident threw me so far off.
Yep, disconnected twice, pitted, disconnected, and gone. Got him disqualified.
Well, there's Filler's
reason.
first deal.
Yeah, that is definitely gonna help Pillars out. The thing is now he has to capitalize on it. Satford 4 seconds back off of Droftus.
That sucks.
It does. I've never seen it before. It's so weird.
Yeah, it was weird. He just completely stopped.
I mean, it almost Mark almost killed his car because he thought your car was solid.
So did I. Wait, so my car almost made contact with another?
Yeah,
It
Your
was
car was solid on the
Oh
screen.
yeah, when you disconnected, your car parked in the carousel.
yeah.
Bruh.
Yeah, and a couple people
It looked solid, but you could drive through it. But we didn't know that at first, so Mark almost ran into the back of it.
And then just like almost went into the outside wall.
And then somebody did drive through it. I thought it was going to be a massive accident. Somebody drove through it, and then I said, okay, well, you can drive through the car. It was weird, but we are working halfway through the Grand Prix now. Jonathan on the mediums. He has not opened up the gap he's like. It's only 4.7 seconds out of Droftus. I think it was at 5 seconds at one point. So I think Droftus is catching on fresh hards, but they are fresh tires. Fresh rubber still able to make some lap times here, but Jonathan needing everything he can here if he's going to try to pull off a victory here. He had victory in his hands last week at Australia and
Why is Pillars up here?
actually choked it off of turn 12 coming to the final lap of the Grand Prix. Jaden, if you wish to join these races, especially since you know Steven, just ask him to get us in contact. Facebook is preferred, but if not, we can still work something out on PlayStation. Just talk to Steven, especially if you're able to, and have him try to get you in contact with me. Marco's worked his way around one of the hash drivers. Malico is only 2.8 seconds back off of Marco before he took his trip into the grass there, now 3.2.
I about killed myself that last lap.
How about that? Even with the first lap incident, he is on pace to still try to get into the points here. He's only 2.2 seconds off of Brian. Do they do these on Xbox? Some of these drivers some people do leagues on Xbox. I don't personally know anybody who. Well, actually, I do know one person who does own a league on Xbox. This is a PlayStation 4 league. How do you find the league? Well, this is the league YouTube channel. Pretty much. I'll have to get back to you on that, but comment on the video afterwards, and then I can reply to you. Once this video is uploaded to the channel, comment on it, and I'll reply back to you, and we can get this worked out. I can get you in if you're on PlayStation 4. Ben up into the 8th position now over Foursquare. Ben on a mission after his opening lap troubles sent him deep into the running order, spinning off of turn number 8. Yeah, it was turn 8, and fell right down the running order, but into 8th position. Ben now has to carry the torch high for Alfa Romeo and the constructors. Now, Steven, having a nice quiet race, sat in the 6th position, not in any troubles, no issues, just riding around and having the race come to him. A nice solid points day in his first race back, 4 weeks out, and doing a pretty solid job. Back up front, Droftus has actually closed the gap on Jonathan. Droftus easy win. I was just about to mention, this is really helping his chances of winning. His only competition is Pillars right behind, but Pillars on 1 lap older hards. Pillars tries to not push too hard. This is very important for Pillars though. Hector not getting points is very beneficial to Pillars. He has to capitalize on it to make the most of this season. 56 points was the gap heading into this Grand Prix. That is almost 2 complete races. This would be 1. And Pillars has to make the most of it. Jonathan into the pit lane. He saw he was losing time. Time's time. I mean, he had to come in sooner or later. This is probably going to be another set of mediums to the end. Yes, that is another set of mediums. Drop this to the race lead. Pillars up to second. 6.6 seconds behind Droftus. Where does Jonathan come out? He'll be racing the Red Bull on pit exit. Markle will be coming by with a full head of steam. Looks like he'll actually get out in front of Markle. So podium hopes for Markle. Those have pretty much gone away right there. Steven has worked his way around. Malik goes into the pit lane. This the undercut on Markle possibly. Here's the thing, Malik is coming out in traffic. He'll be racing Foursquare on pit exit. He's clear Foursquare, and Ben is up the road, so he's actually not too in danger here. But this is really going to help out Ben. The strategy of the hards, he's going to pass all these drivers on mediums. Pretty much, I believe, except Jonathan. Jonathan's already pitted, and he's going to the end. But Markle and Steven still have to pit where they come out in relation to Ben, but Ben's hards, will they be able to fend off those drivers on fresh mediums? Drop this a 6.4 second advantage at the front of the grid. Pillars being caught by Vareno behind. Jonathan flying. 9 seconds, the gap between himself and Pillars. If he's gaining a second a lap, that is perfect because he has, well, 11 laps to go. So that would be 12. Markle into the pit lane, serving his 5-second penalty as well. Oh! Dan, contact off of... Oh, and there goes a Haas around. No, it's a Renault. It's Aiden. Dan and Aiden. Incident there off of turn 9.
No, there was no contact. I spun by myself.
Two separate incidents at the same time. Steven, the Marco's penalty pretty much guaranteed Malenka the overtake, but Marco's got 1 lap fresher mediums. Markle comes out in front of teammate Foursquare, who's on 6-lap old hards. Right now, double point stay for Red Bull. Victor up into the 5th position. Steven, when he pits, where does he come out? Is Steven trying to go as long as he can to maybe go into the softs? How long do fresh softs last, and can he take the mediums that long? Jonathan, a 120.806, already down to 7.9 seconds. 11 laps remaining in the Grand Prix. No, this is actually still 12 laps. Here comes Steven into the pit lane. Victor goes by for 4th. Ben for 5th. Steven is down and away. Malenko and Markle go right on by. This undercut doing wonders. Markle already around Malenko. Markle makes easy work of him down into turn 1 with the DRS. Foursquare gets by Steven. Steven, he won't be racing on the pit exit, but he'll be down in 9th. So Malenko, can he stick with Markle? Dropped this with the fastest lap, a 120.702 as a race leader on old hards. He's lapping a Renault there as Aiden, only 1 down. .7 seconds, the advantage. 2 pillars. Drop this, trying to take what would be. Double check. Pretty sure this would be his 2nd win on the season. It would be. There's a caution in sector 3. There's a Renault around. No, that's a Haas. A Braden. Also, teammates Maliko and Droftus tied heading into this week. This, I believe, is Droftus' final race with EWRL. At least the hitting the pit lane on entry, pit wall on entry, because he has to go back to work. We are running Sunday evenings here in the States, which is that is well into the morning hours in Europe. He has to get back to work. He has to get his much needed rest. Probably not race with us as much. He'll break the tie of himself and his teammate big time, but Maliko should pass him right back in 2 more points finishes or so, at the rate Maliko does finish. Should take a few more than that at this rate. So Marco has not pulled away a crazy amount from Maliko, but I'm pretty sure Maliko is just keeping touch because of DRS. Ben, this is interesting. Ben is closing the gap on Victor here. Does Victor have anything to defend Ben? Ben has 2 lap fresher hards. Jonathan has not made the indents into the gap between himself and Pillars he has liked to make, but he still has time. Just not enough, I don't think. Jonathan's really got to be clicking off laps if he does want to get second. And now the battle for 4th. It is tightening up. Ben on Victor. Of DRS down the front straightaway. There's a caution in Sector 1. Has been cleared. Ben with the DRS makes easy work of Victor. Can Victor stay in touch? Oh, wow. The dive into the corner. So he'll try to avoid hitting the back of the Alfa Romeo.
Right on the front straight, Jonathan.
Don't think he's in here, but I'm sure he appreciates the gesture nonetheless. So the gap between Jonathan and Ben, that's another story. 28 seconds between 3rd and 4th position. I'm pretty sure this is about as high as Ben will get on the grid without mistakes out of the drivers in front of him. Victor has not lost touch with Ben. DRS will keep him in touch. Maliko has not lost touch with Markle. But Markle, does he have anything for Victor? He is closing that gap. There's a caution in Sector 2. That's a racing point around. That's TK.
Man, I caught up to freaking like 2 seconds off 11 and spun out again.
So this is about 13 seconds back, but Aiden is sat 11th. This is, I believe, only his 2nd race with us, but one mistake out of a driver ahead of him could get him into the points, and pretty much scoring a point will allow you the opportunity to get a full-time ride, as he lets his teammate Jonathan by. So Aiden just needs to gain 1 spot. Again, he is 14 seconds off of 10th place, but 1 spot could go a long way, getting him a full-time ride for the final 6 Grand Prix of the season. Back up front, this is Droft is coming to lap 10th position on the grid. Brian letting him by. Droft is on an absolute tear, 6 seconds out in front of Pillars. The gap between Pillars and Jonathan has only closed down to 5 seconds. It's closed down quite a bit, but is it enough? And now there's not really anybody remaining in DRS detection other than Dan on TK. This is for the 13th position outside of points. This is a battle that is at least 1 lap down. Five laps remaining in the Spanish Grand Prix here. This is round 15 of the 21 race championship. Hector, the points leader, having issues. Connection and around goes. Who is that? That is Colton going around. Well, 12th, 13th, and 14th were relatively close to each other. Markle is closing the gap on Victor for the 5th position. Wait, Pillars and Dan are running the exact same car number. Oh my goodness.
Hey, I've had my number since the beginning. I've been number 12 since the beginning.
Going into the pit lane from the 14th position. Marco has made easy work of Victor up into P5. Does Marco have anything for Ben? 3.6 seconds that gap with 5 laps remaining in the Grand Prix. Four laps to go as Droft just crosses the lines of caution in sector 1. That's Colton around. Thank you for hopping in the chat and clearing things up, many things. Do appreciate that. Jonathan's closed the gap on Pillars down to 4.5 seconds with 4 laps remaining. He's got to go on an absolute tear here if he's going to catch Pillars. Thank you, many things. That's perfect.
No, oh my god.
TK's gone off in the same corner.
I
Turn 8.
there, I think like 5 times this race.
Alright, cool, Jane. Yep, keep us tabbed. We'll definitely love to have you in. 3 laps remaining in a Grand Prix for Shatford to get his 2nd Grand Prix on the season. And if this truly is his last Grand Prix with us, at least this season, what a way to go out. If he can hold on for 2.5 more laps, TK into the pit lane from 13th. Steven has worked his way around Foursquare. That is P8 for Steven. That looks like all she wrote there. Looks like Marco's lost time to Ben.
I have.
Marco looks like he's been a little occupied with the Mercedes, who has not really lost touch with him, unless Marco just made a mistake. The gap between Pillars and Jonathan. 2 laps remaining in a Grand Prix. This gap, 3.9 seconds. Oh wow, there's a Mercedes off there. That was Colton again. As Victor's still heavily invested in his fight. Foursquare has gotten back by Steven in a 10-second time. Oh my goodness. For exceeding track limits.
How do you fuck up that bad?
Oof.
Who got it?
What's
going on? Staying on the fucking lane. Shut the fuck up.
Dropped this. I got this. Commenting from his 6-second lead.
Yeah, Shipbird, you go win this. Go, teammate.
Yeah, Foursquare, where are you?
Colton's retired. He's gone off there.
Dead.
In turn 10. Pillar set second. Second, it'll do, but it's not what he wanted to capitalize on a day like this. Trying to keep the 2.7 second advantage that Jonathan is trying to desperately close. He's gaining a 10th every time they go by a scoring loop. And further on back, Marco has not been able to shake Victor. Steven and Foursquare continue to duke it. Oh, Steven's actually gone by Foursquare this time by a decent margin. Into Sector 3 now. For what could be his last start of the season. If it is, what a way to leave it. Nearly lapping up to 9th position, but laps up to 10th place through the final corner for the 2nd time this season. Droftis is gonna win here at Spain. Pillars will come home and take 2nd. Jonathan 3rd. Tune in later tonight for the rest of the finishing results. As Ben works his way through turn 12. Brian does cross in 10th. He will get 1 point. First driver 1 lap down. Fastest lap goes to the race winner. Droftis maximizing his points in his last, possibly his last EWRL F1 start this season. Ben goes 4th. The battle to the line between a Red Bull and a Mercedes. Marco holds on to 5th over Victor 6th.
Dead.
Malenko through turn 16. Will come home in P7. Steven, after looked like a hard-fought battle with Foursquare, comes home 8th. And the final driver on the lead lap, barely a double points late for Red Bull. Foursquare comes home in 9th.
Kenseth is leading.
Sorry, what?
Kenseth is leading.
Yeah, no, I heard you.
Yeah, you heard me. Over Bush, Brad, Custer, DeBenedetto, McDowell,
Harvick? Hello?
Eric, Amarola, Bowman, Dylan, and Kurt.
Wow. Well, here it is.
Hello.
The podium. Dropped this top step. Pillar second. Jonathan. P3.
Good race, guys. Good race.
Yeah. Who was in the Williams I was catching?
Who was in the Williams you were catching?
Yeah, no.
Weren't you last car?
Yeah, I was.
Who were you catching?
I kept on catching it. I think it was...
Malco?
What did they use name? Yeah, I kept on catching Malco. Because I was on fresh socks.
Well, here's our finishing results. And no time penalties at the end, except Colton had his 10-second, but it won't affect his finishing position. Unless we'll check the race director. And there's Roftus, yep, in the party. Right on schedule. And the race director, very short. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Very, very easy to work with, a short race director. We'll go ahead and see if we can get Jonathan in here. Was really pushing to catch pillars, just ran out of laps. Should have missed it. It's alright, Freddie. The video will still be up. You'll be able to go back and watch it.
I had such a good start.
Anyway, let's see here. Pillars, you got a copy?
Got a copy.
Right. So, second place. But I think you're more happy about what didn't happen, and what didn't happen was Hector finishing. Obviously, not of his own doing or anything. The internet issues plagued him, but what did that race turn into when you saw that?
When I saw it, I just pushed. Seeing him flicker in and out, especially when I was behind him. I had to launch him up the inside just to kind of get past his AI. I kind of knew then it was going to be an easy second. With obviously Jonathan having a box, so Droftas obviously doing what Droftas does and just run away with it. But yeah, it was. I wanted a battle, but it didn't accumulate. So.
Right. So you said Droftas just doing what he does, but Jonathan was on it trying to catch you. Yep.
He was, but I think in the end, I think I would have had half decent tires, so because you could shove for as hard as you like around there. But to be fair, he was catching. But when I saw 3 laps left, he still had 4.5, 5 seconds. I knew then I was safe. I know fair play to him, he was catching me, but I know I had the time there to just kind of relax, save ERS, and use it on the last lap just in case the worst happens.
Alright, so it's really looking like, even with the injected talent into the grid, you're still keeping up with these lonely second place finishes. Well, what is going to happen to change this?
Your guess is as good as mine. I race the Droftas quite a lot in a few other leagues, so I know full well the pace he has is ridiculous. So I know Jonathan Cox from another league as well, so I know the pace the guys have. So really we can get first is get quicker.
Alright, last thing.
He needs 2020.
He needs 2020.
Literally.
Yeah, he needs a balancing mechanism, balance of field, balance of power.
Ben, did I touch you?
I don't think so. I lost it, and I'm pretty sure I might have touched the back of your car with the back of mine.
Okay, I just didn't know if I touched you and you lost it.
This race went from good to bad.
Alright, so
quickly.
One last thing. Gap went from 56 to 38 points. How does that sound? 6 Grand Prix left. How are you feeling?
Still on it. Obviously, you got to take advantage when problems arise, and I did today. But hopefully he'll be back next week with his Wi-Fi not taking a big dump on him halfway through the race. But the gap definitely sounds a lot better, and it's definitely still on. So I think it'll go down to the wire.
All right, so
I'm hoping it does.
As a spectator, that is definitely what we want to hear. Something go down to the wire. We love to hear it. Congratulations on yet another second place finish, but more importantly, a great momentum boost for the final stretch of the season.
Cheers, thank you.
All right, Jonathan, you have a copy?
Oh, yeah.
All right, third place finisher, driver of the Renault. How'd that Renault feel?
It felt good actually. I felt that I had great pace. Given it maybe a couple of laps, I might have caught infamous, but we'll never know. And maybe I went on the wrong strategy, but you live and learn. So yeah, I'm happy with the result.
So I was gonna say it was very interesting in qualifying. I saw pretty much like the rest of the drivers you're up at the front of the grid normally, kind of qualify on hards and on mediums, but you were always going for the pole. Was that the plan to always go into pole and then just try to be first to the finish line that way? Was strategy never like the name of the game for you today, or were you not sure if that strategy would work out in your favor?
I wasn't too sure really about the strategy. I was always aiming like to go for the softs, just to pull away, like try and get a decent gap out before I pit first, and I managed to maybe get like a 5-second gap. But I don't think I met the right decision strategy wise, but hey ho, finished third. Happy with third. It's another podium. Just try and keep it going for the next race.
I'm glad you're happy with her, because wow, these past 2 weeks, these are some weeks that I probably wouldn't. Probably this week a little bit easier than last week, but nonetheless, 2 races in a row where you've been leading and you've had a great car. What is it going to take for you to turn around and get 2 spots higher?
Probably strategy. I'll have to probably maybe go back to the drawing board and maybe have a look at the videos that I do and just look at the strategies that I'm doing and try and learn from my own personal strategies as well as the other drivers as well, to learn from their strategies and maybe go with theirs instead of going with mine. But it's plenty of time to win races, and I'm relatively newbie here in EWRL, so I'm still learning people's paces and but yeah, I'll learn, and great result.
Yeah, definitely. I'll tell you right now that this season, this series a year ago was very small, and we've gotten a huge grid influx in the preseason heading into the season, and it's been something to manage. But nonetheless, how have you kind of enjoyed these first 2 races for you here in EWRL?
Yeah, I've really enjoyed it. There's a great bunch of guys here. These other drivers that I know, like Draftas and Infamous as well. Even Silent Ace as well. So, some drivers that I know, there's some drivers that I don't know. I'm still learning how to use. I'm still learning their paces, but yeah, I'm enjoying the league and I hope to stay here. It's a really good league. Let's go in places.
I really appreciate that. Yeah, and congratulations on your second podium in a row, 2 third-place finishes in a row. A pretty consistent start to your run here in EWRL. And good luck to you next week in where are we? Oof. Next week we are in
Baku.
Baku, right? Yeah, good luck to you next week in Baku.
Thank you.
All right, drop this. You got a copy?
Yes, mate, I'm here.
Right. So, are you sure this was your last Grand Prix?
I can't do next week, but I may be able to do the week after, depending on connection in work in Sweden. We'll see.
Right. Well, if this truly is your last, obviously the door is always open for you to come back and all, but if this truly is your last, what a way for you to kind of put it like a period on your short little run here. Never really, actually you had one finish up at the podium, but nonetheless, what is this? 6 great Grand Prix to your name, and you start and you end with a win. How's that feel, and what's that kind of say about you?
I can't complain, really. It's not been bad. It's been good. Hopefully I'll be back in a few weeks' time. See how work goes, and see if I can carry it on. Get Williams that constructors, maybe.
Yeah, I'm sure Malika would love for you to come back. He will be definitely hoping you can make it. All right, so going about the race, you qualified on a harder compound. Was that always the plan going into today, to kind of seek out the strategy way to get this Grand Prix victory? Or was that kind of like a last moment decision, kind of seeing what your competition was doing? Or what led you to do that?
Previous races, I really don't like the softs at Spain. So it was always going to be a one-stop medium hard for me, or hard medium if I could do it. Got a bit of luck with Hector disconnecting, because it meant that instead of fighting him on track and pillars and being dragged into that, I could just chase Jono down, so he couldn't get a gap that he wanted. If we were fighting, it could have been different.
GG, by the way.
Yeah, a GB top 3.
Yeah, I saw that. Didn't even realize that. Congratulations there. And, yeah, this American-based F1 league just got taken over by a whole bunch of Brits.
We're doomed.
We're doomed. All right, so what really leads you to not like the softs around here?
Just previous races, they don't last long enough. You get 4 or 5 good laps out of them, and then they just feel like you're on ice. So for me, it was a no-go on the softs, and we'll just go see where we end up on the mediums.
All right, well, that was going to be my next question then. Did you know what the gap was going to kind of look like as the race progressed before you eventually got out to the race lead?
I had no idea beforehand. I knew that I would be somewhere near pillars, because obviously we did about 12 hours practice over the last 24 hours.
Jesus Christ.
That's the way you've got to do it.
Shut up, man.
Total sweat.
No, I'm joking. We did about 20 minutes before the race.
Right.
Speaking of that, in Austria for fucking 2 hours tonight.
20 minutes or 12 hours, nonetheless, looks like it paid off. Again, we do hope to see you back soon, but nonetheless, congratulations on the win. It was definitely a fun one. Kind of bookends your little stint here, but the door is always open for you to come right on back. Congratulations.
Yeah, cheers, buddy.
Wow, that is didn't even realize that. Yeah, a GB top 3, as Rafta says. Yeah, but nonetheless, it was a fun race. Very clean in the most part, as we only had one VSC. The retirements were few and far apart. Most of the incidents happened towards the back of the grid, or there was a couple in the middle of the grid that really shook up the running order, and the grid kind of fixed itself as the race went on. So nonetheless, I guess as things are all normal, it's the least we can hope for. There's a decent Grand Prix, to say the least, for the Spanish Grand Prix. These are normally a little snooze fests, but this one not as much. There was action for the most part of the Grand Prix, and then towards the end you can kind of see the strategy game come out. But to the line, the battle for 5th between the Red Bull of Markle and the Mercedes of Victor was definitely interesting, especially since Marco hasn't ran in 12 weeks and Victor has only ran one race this season. Marco's 2. So that was quite the battle. Glad to see them both in points. Glad to see the drivers you have on the podium. But glad to see you at the championship battle tightens up as a spectator for that to definitely bring the action as we head into next week's Azerbaijani Grand Prix. We'll see y'all next week.